Humanity destroyed. Back threat unstoppable. Mission failed. Open a breach. Time to go back and try again. I'm Leonardo, that was Ralph Karlsson talking with his mech. Welcome to Into the Breach. Hardest difficulty and relatively fast, so let's not waste any time. This timeline will be a Vec graveyard. This is Archive. We also have 3 more islands which are locked just for the first time to make you play in the intended order. Archive Inc. This museum island recreates old Earth as it was before the oceans rose and nearly wiped out humanity. Into the Breach needs only 1 sentence to establish the setting so that we can all focus on tactics. But not before destroying, playing the tutorial. We are doing all we can to protect the refugees, but we need your help against the Vec. We'll assist with some more old Earth artifacts if we can. This is Dewey Alms, the island leader, an enthusiast of old Earth technology. Let's start the simulation, where text boxes will tell us all that we need to know. Power grid. When a building is damaged, it will be reduced, and this is what delivers powers to our mechs. So if it's reduced to 0, you lose, which is an elaborate way to say this is your life bar. Barely justified through lore. But the unique characteristic of the game is that the attacks are telegraphed. Every enemy attack is forewarned. External, this one will attack the buildings. Hover over an enemy to see details about its attack. The attacks are represented in a clear way on the map, keeping the UI clean. You can see an example of what the accelerating thorax is going to do: launch a volatile mass of goo. This is a firefly which will be able to move outside of this simulation. This is your combat mech. It can punch any adjacent tile. Select your mech now by clicking on it. And this is the only situation in which we are on rail. Click on a weapon to use it, or use one shortcut, and after we shoot we cannot move. We can cancel with right click or with Q, and then pressing shift to go back. But just for this time, even if we try to do something else, it will not work. So let's humor the tutorial just for this turn. Pushing enemies. Your mechs push the unit. It will now attack a new location. Pushes can save buildings from any attacks or even make enemies attack each other. Way to spoil the funniest part of the game. When all your mechs have used an action or there's nothing left for your units to do, you can end your turn. And now the Vec will act, get a new Vec, Leaper, and also a new mech. This is your cannon mech. It shoots a projectile that travels in a straight line until it hits another object, the same as the Firefly. The Taurus cannon fires a powerful projectile that damages and pushes the target. In this case, the Leaper is just 1 health, so we could just, when aiming a weapon, the orange tiles show when you can shoot, we could just kill him directly. But this time we are not on rails, so let's do something useless like repairing with R, and let the Vec destroy the city since it's just a simulation. Building damage. This building was damaged, so your city power grid was reduced. Your primary goal is to prevent this. Instead, my goal here is to try to get to 0. Get a game over in the simulation, which, spoiler alert, won't be possible. These Vec emerge from the ground, but since I did not kill the Leaper, they get stuck, even target their own friend. But first, artillery mech. Artillery weapons can shoot over obstacles like mountains, but cannot shoot adjacent tiles. The artillery mech's weapon will only damage units on the center tile, while units on adjacent tiles are pushed and apparently it's so important that it needs its own window. And the game was not expecting me to put the combat mech on the same tile that the artillery mech was programmed to fall, so we get an interesting situation. But before that, the leaper, fangs, web the target, preparing to bite it, 3 damage, melee damage, but the 0 move enemies remain in this situation and they will keep targeting the same tiles, so the eye is not fully activated. The hornet stabs the target and also flies over obstacle or over our mechs. But first let's take a look at this. The only major bug I ever found in the game was, well, basically on purpose. And you can see that if you select the tile, the combat mech is first and everything works as intended. But if you do the opposite and select the artillery mech and then cancel your movement, you'll get a free move. You can see from white triangle the result is free move. Not that I'm going to do much, since for this tutorial the only interesting thing to do is to try to lose. You still have units that can act, they will use their turn, continue, and don't ask again, even though it will be my downfall at some point. The VEC target whatever is in the way. The text box spoiled, we can make the VEC target each other. This new VEC will behave normally, but our goal is not to kill every VEC, but to protect the buildings from these kaiju attacking out of the blue. So completing mission, every mission you win by surviving until the VEC retreat. In this case, and only here, the bonus objective is kill all enemies before the retreat, but in general missions have bonus objectives. Completing these will grant additional resources after the battle. Now we lost all power, but our mechs are still working as I anticipated, so it was a bit pointless, but still, curiosity is what makes us human, something like that. Pushing into objects. Pushing units into things deals 1 additional damage to both. And all 3 of our mechs are actually able to push, while their weapons, melee, projectile and artillery are the 3 types that you can find in the game. I have plenty of time to look at that. For now, let's get our mech destroyed. Damage mechs. Your mechs will automatically repair all damage after battle. If a mech is reduced to 0 health, the pilot dies and the mech is disabled for the rest of that battle. Luckily, we don't have any pilot to worry about, because mechs can also pilot themselves with the AI unit, while the mech that came out before are still stuck targeting the same tiles over and over. And your mech was disabled, its pilot was killed and will not be able to act for the rest of the mission. Good thing that in this simulation we don't have actually pilots. As we see in the intro, Ralph was talking with the unit of his combat mech. And the disabled mech can still have a function, for example shielding from a projectile or block and spawn, which we don't see here because in the tutorial VEC spawn instantly. Instead, in the game it will take 1 turn. Let's continue our work of destruction, and also any item like destroyed mech can be pushed around. Drowning unit. This unit fell into water, killing it instantly, so hopefully we'll find plenty of water on the first island, while these VEC are still stuck. Anyway, if we killed all enemies before they retreated, this would have been ended a while ago. Again, only because it's a tutorial. So I destroyed all the buildings. We get less than 0 power, but of course the game does not end since it's the tutorial and actually nothing will change. Even the text does not expect us to fail, so. And without end-to-end confirmation, just pressing the spacebar is enough, which may be a problem later. This is the normal end of the mission, and the Vec retreat, and we see that there is an empty star, as if we missed a reward, but there is actually no reward here, just a leftover because it was assumed that everyone will be able to finish the tutorial. Congratulations on first successful mission, Commander, and confident in your ability to save the planet after such extensive training. So I think it needs a new pair of glasses. In any case, damage power grid, that's how we start every time, and the Vec caused damage before you arrived, but there will be opportunities to restore it. You don't start at full health. Mission rewards, you'll be able to choose missions according to the rewards, like power cores, grid power, and corp reputation, also the triangle warning sign, but we won't be able to do all the missions, so there's this light layer of strategy. For example, from the library we can reach that easier mission. Instead, from the relic preserves we could get to the right end of the map faster. Let's take a look at the option menu, because Vec do not need to move so slow. Actually, you can make it even slower if you want to simulate a human opponent in chess. I'll keep it maximum. As in chess, they added also grid coordinates so that people in chat or in the comments can point out exactly where the mistake was. Enter confirmation, we already seen it. You also have a timer here. Use the game timer UI when it's needed. You also have larger fonts, which are somewhat alternatives to stretch scaling, and I'll keep it stretch scaling on because it's actually the default option. So the default is a 720p window, and the stretch scaling keeps, well, makes everything a bit blurrier for 1080p, but still the UI is visible enough. Also, I'm going to activate the colorblind mode, another addition made listening to player feedback, which avoids the green-red contrast in the map. Also disable screen shake. You have the gamepad options, so it can also be played on the couch. This streamlined game is perfect with gamepad or on the Switch, but you can see that the colorblind mode changed here, and then also the attacks. I'm going to do the satellite launches first. The satellites were recovered from orbit a long time ago, but they should still function well enough to help us detect Vec activity across the island. We find the satellite launches. We can have a preview of the map. You can also see it's raining. It has no effect on gameplay. One thing that has effect is having these tiles. So while the people inside buildings cheer for us, emerging enemies, an enemy unit will emerge here this turn. It's not like in the tutorial that emerge instantly. You can temporarily block enemies from spawning, but will damage the blocking unity. Using an enemy unit to block, of course, it's ideal, because they will get damaged and block their friend, but the spawn will persist. So if you block one turn, then we'll need to keep blocking unless if you don't want them to come up. It's not a one turn thing, but our objective is to defend the satellites. They have 2 health and no one now is attacking. Also, we got our first, since I put on hard, we already get an alpha enemy, the Alpha Scorpion. Alpha units are more powerful than their standard counterpart. And this is the regular Scorpion, 3 moves, 1 damage, web the target preparing to stab it. Alpha Scorpion, 3 moves, 3 damage. The same type of attack in this case. In the simulation here, you can see 1 damage and 3 damage destroys the mechs. Cool attention to detail. What we want to do is, of course, move or destroy these. I cannot actually reach, so we're already in a hard place. I think the only way to move this alpha thing is here, then punch it here, and also we are on forest. Tile will light on fire when damaged, posing great risk to this unit. So the ground tile is no special effect. The forest is actually a gameplay effect. And the mountain blocks movement and projectiles, damage twice to destroy. Now I'm going to kill this, and we get a burning forest. Forest is on fire. If a unit stands on fire, will ignite and take damage every turn. But of course, since he pushed it, it wouldn't have been on fire, just the tile. Now, we get 4 back. And this satellite is ready for launch, so done webs, says Ralph. And we also have Mary, launch imminent, so you can see that these are different pilots. The Time Traveler has a special abilities, gain +2 bonus XP per kill. And Tui and Mary are extra pilots, coming from one of the 4 islands in the game. But aside from that, they are generic and they don't have a special ability, but still they can get XP and get the same skills as the Time Travelers. And they, of course, they can also be AI, as in this case. Now you can see the skull means that the weapon or environment effect on this tile will kill any unit, shield and ice will not block. So there's no actually downside to let the satellite take 1 damage, so it's perfectly fine. Also it's stable and smoke immune, but we'll see later this. The problem is that I need to move my mech. Usually it's great if the mech are targeting you, because you can move aside, but in this case it's not as great, because I'm webbed. Luckily I can push this away. And I need to worry about these. So I'm actually going to do 1 damage on purpose to the satellite to kill this one. Instead here, I just move it away and turn. So the first launch went well, and now we need to worry about the second. This alpha is making things much harder for us. We cannot reach, so I need to choose between 2 power grids or the second optional objective. Even though the primary objective would be to save the civilians, there's nothing I can do for this Alpha Scorpion, unless I decide to reset turn. Go back in time to start your turn. Power limitation means you can only do this once per battle. The localized breach worked. Let's use it to our advantage. So now I have changed, went back in the timeline, can push this away and save this building. The issue is still that I still cannot save this one or this one, so it's less damage. So I could, this mech is on fire, it will take damage every turn. Mechs can repair status effects but cannot attack the same turn that they repair. We can actually, anytime after we moved, even if they're on fire, we can just press shift and go back, even if they are on fire, of course. It will clear up and do move. So in this case I'm going to choose the corporate point and accept 1 damage here. My Kern mech sustained heavy damage, so he's going to die next turn. Satellites about to launch, keep your distance. You can see attack order, fire damage is always first. Then we got the enemy actions and then the NPC actions. And you can see that a small mistake earlier can snowball into an unwinnable situation, where we'll have plenty of time to look at that. We have a new enemy, a Vex Psion. The enemy Psion provides a passive bonus to other back, or left control while hovering over. So he's flying and he has a passive effect, so he won't attack directly, but all other back receive +1 HP as long as the Psion is living. These Psion are fixed for each island. So in this island now we'll see only invigorating spores +1 HP. Now is here, so we cannot move the scorpion. Need to worry about these, and I need to decide between saving the life of Tui, Koleda, or the life of these citizens, because on fire he will die next turn. As for this one, you can just move away, but again not far enough. So what I'm going to do, repair the cannon mech. Well, the pilots are ready to give up their life to save other people, so I'm going to save the civilians in a heroic death, since it has not much XP. Hopefully we'll find another pilot soon. Now I can save the satellite launch, but I cannot save and that's it. So we get the optional objective, we get casualties. We survived, they're on their own, that was amazing, so they're happy. Privately, I was always sad seeing these satellites sitting on the display, up in space, helping mankind. That's what they were meant for. We saved 1200 civilians, 1500 is a perfect score on hard, 1000 on normal, and 500 on easy. So it's a scoring system. Don't get too attached to civilians, they're just points. Also we have a killed in action, died after taking severe damage in the battle against the creature. But we get 2 corporation reputation. As you secure regions and complete bonus objective, your reputation with the local corporation will increase. Unfortunately, this one has no pilot. It's better to have a specialized pilot, and it's better because they can get 2 skills if they level up. They need 75 XP in total. Ralph is the only one with the +2 bonus XP as a perfect starting pilot. Also we can rename if we want, and we'll worry about these later. The upgrades, this one will be the first I'll take. Also notice that there are 4 buildings in this case per tile, so it's a matter of balance. Better to have less buildings and less life. Early in development there were 4. Now we can choose between the easier mission, which has defensive shield active, as you can see with the same warning sign but different color, so it's actually helpful. Do not kill the volatile back is the only objective. Renovation complex, defend the artillery support, protect the coal plant, and the air support here. So I'm going to do the renovation complex now. So we'll get 1 corporate reputation and 1 power grid, which we need, and we'll unlock the next one. Our technicians recently got an old earth artillery battery up and running. Please make sure it survives the fight. Need to defend the artillery support, protect the coal plant. This is the coal plant here. Now we can deploy our mechs, and there's an alpha firefly this time, 3 damage, same to move, so they're slower. Instead, the Hornet deals less damage, but goes quite far, 5 moves and plus flying. We have artillery support, friendly unit, so I'll just leave this here. Might have been a good idea to put one here to trick this Firefly into attacking this column. Fortunately, the artillery support can only move 1, even though it's a great damage dealing. This is the old earth weapon, so we see the contrast between these mechs, which will still appear quite mysterious. You can see the future and the past. Only 3 Vec. We get the attack order, and the Alpha Firefly is 3rd. So if not, I could have used it to kill this one. So I'm going to use the cannon to push this here. Well, if there wasn't a threat here, I could have just let the Alpha Firefly kill the Hornet. Anyway, now push this away and use artillery support to make a kill. If the kill is from environment or friendly, the XP is shared between surviving pilots. So I can use this to move away so we can appreciate the stupidity. Get them caught in each other's way. So the attacks are planned in advance and cannot be changed. Also, sometimes if there are too many Vec or available targets, it will just not attack. Move it up a bit, maybe will be useful later, and get a kill here. Also, pressing A, S, D, it selects our weapon, and FGH if we have deployed thing. Instead, Z and X is for allies. I cannot punch this here because it will get destroyed. What I can do, I can hit this mountain, or actually, I guess the best option here is just use the artillery this way. Makes more sense. Also, yeah, we don't have many Vec, so I'm going to push this here. We'll actually die, so it won't block a spawn. And so I can focus on this one. I'm not going to be able to kill it yet. Almost. This one will die by fire. We'll get 3 Vec, which means more XP. So here we tricked the Vec, which have a basic AI on purpose, into attacking each other. And so you can see the 3 types of attacks. There's the straight projectile attack, which will hit the first thing that it encounters, the melee attack, represented by this triangle, or the artillery attack, represented by a ballistic trajectory, like any projectile on Earth. Instead, the projectile one is approximated to a straight line, approximation that works when it's very fast. Now, we can move Ralph, of course. We can also damage this. So I will die next turn because the fire damage acts first. Can use webbed mech. Actually, in this case, no one will get XP. Instead, if I did the opposite order, the XP would have been split. So that's one downside of not using a pilot. Still, Mary has no skills, but you have the potential to get skills. The AI unit does not. So now I can actually see number 2 attacks first, so it will destroy this firefly. I'll get another scion. We can kill all 3 of them. Won't be so easy. Let's see. Feel like I'm getting a second wind, it means it's leveled up. So you can see a lot of text boxes. Unfortunately, we got the worst skill, which is great defense. We have a chance of avoiding damage, just to make things less desperate in desperate situations. And we get +3, so we have 18% now instead of 15. For each time a Vec attacks a building, we'll see that sooner or later. Now, what I want to do is to kill this one without destroying my own. So I'm going, well, I guess I'll leave it. I'll leave this one alone. And yeah, I can get a kill through fire. And as soon as the Psion dies, this one dies because it had a borrowed life point from the Psion. With this region secure, we can open our technology vaults. Let's see what other old Earth tech we can use against the Vec. So if you haven't noticed yet, Dewey is quite enthusiastic about the old technology, which is great for us to see how far we've become. Clearly there's some time traveling involved. We'll see that in time. We need to defend the tanks. We won't be able to do all the missions, so we got engineers working on 2 old Earth tanks in the region. They should be up and running shortly after you arrive. This one is a bit tricky. Allied units that do not move, piloted by an AI. They have 4 movement, but they don't have power yet. Cannot move or attack. So there would be obstacles in the way, but we cannot push enemies against it. And finally we get a temporary rescue craft designated Time Pod. It's vital we obtain that pod. It may hold something that will help us win the war. So I was waiting for this Time Pods. This pod contain equipment from the future. You can collect it with your mech or just defend it until the end of the battle. So the Vec will not go on top of it to avoid frustration, but if you hit this or push a Vec on top of it, it will be destroyed. These are actually very helpful from the future. We can actually safe and sound. In this case we'll lose 1 turn, so I'm not going to do that. First of all, we need to worry about this one. And now I can just push this out of the way, and this will block a spawn for us. So we can just leave it here, especially if it's out of the way. We have more pressing matters to worry about. So the number of spawns depends on how many Vec there are in the field, and the difficulty, of course. We'll see that things can get unsolvable pretty fast. So this deals 3 damage, and no one of our Vec can take 3 damage, so we need to move out of the way. Though this would be actually quite helpful because I don't see... Well, yeah, with the fire I can kill him. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and now it take 1 damage from fire. So I put my own mech on fire to be able to kill this one. He will not block a spawn, but it's okay. Now I will take another damage, so I need to repair soon. And now we have 4, but hopefully... Update. Archive ink tanks online. And now, finally, we get some help. With Z and X, we'll can use these, but they can just... The archive tank can only push. So, stock cannon, fire a projectile that pushes the target. But we can also push our own, so it may be... Of course I cannot do this, it would destroy my own. Also I need to get out of here and repair. But first, let's see. So I can push this out of the way. And yeah, terrain has been altered, but I didn't notice this. Luckily we have 1 reset turn per mission. Did you pick up a strange glitch in your sensor just now? We have a constant flow of flavor text. So now I need to I might need to sacrifice something. Let's see. So if I move this out of the way, yeah, they don't have much range. So I'll use the tanks to get the pod and have this out of the way. And now I can just move away, repair. Also notice that there's a different background when the pilots are going to, well, are heavily damaged. That will until we are back at base. Between missions they will get a full heal anyway. So now we don't have anything to worry about, we just need to worry about dealing the most damage possible. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to block it. He attacks first, it doesn't matter too much, because he was going to get killed by his friend before he could block. Now we have 5 back. Luckily, in this case we have 5 units, so we just need to worry about moving them out of the way and we'll be fine. For example, here. Who attacks first? No, it's not. Wasn't a good idea. So I'm going to... I completely forgot about this one, so I'll get 1 damage. Unfortunately, I already used the reset. That's not too bad. We'll be able to... Hopefully we'll be able to recover some health later. So, the mech has been put down. All Earth technology is up and kicking. Couldn't have hoped for better. So you can see that they don't worry too much about the dead civilians. But we got the pod, of course for gameplay reason, because sometimes they will comment and it will be confusing if you are not sure how much you need to worry about saving them. We get just one reward here, which is the guaranteed one, a reactor core. Reactor cores are used to upgrade your mechs between missions. And now we can install a core, but I'm going to install it here to get immunity for buildings. We can also get health, we can get move, and we can undo at any time before starting a new mission. The reactor will stay on this mech, but I can move it around at any time. You can actually even remove the main weapon, and the game will let me do that, though there's a warning here, and of course it doesn't make any sense, but we could do that. Unfortunately, in that pod we could have found a pilot, but we didn't. Now we have actually only one choice, even though it's not clear the first time, only one choice between these 4 missions. Kill 7 enemies, protect the core plants, kill 7 enemies, protect the power generator, and kill 7 enemies, protect the clinic. So if you are going for an optional challenge like pacifist playthrough, which I'm going to do pacifist run later, my objective here, first objective, is to get 100% in the game, which means completing all the achievements. But for now, let's just worry about finishing this island before power grid gets to 0. So the kill 7 enemies is actually quite hard if you don't have upgraded weapons. I mean, we get more enemies on hard, but it's harder to kill them. On easy, less enemies, but easier to kill them. So I'll just play it safe since we got everything, every other objective. Just play it safe. I show you defense shields. These volatile mechs don't have the courtesy to simply die. They explode and damage entire regions. Drive it away, but whatever you do, don't kill it. Energy shield will block damage from any negative effects, like fire and other we'll see. Only direct damage will remove the shield. Non-damaging negative effects will have no effect. And here's the new unit. Is a volatile mech, recoloring of the Scorpion. Explosive decay, explodes on death, dealing 1 damage to adjacent tile. Very, very easy to spot on the battlefield. But we don't have to worry about these buildings, at least for one hit. Leave the artillery back. That look, the mechs. So our goal is to avoid, in the story motivation is that the volatile mech is going to destroy the whole region. The in-game point is that it will just deal 1 damage to adjacent tiles. So we have, it actually has 4 HP, so we have some freedom in how we deal with it. But if you have a squad focusing on pushing, this objective is quite easy. Now this one is not attacking because it was too far, so I just put it here and have it block, even though it's not really necessary in this case. And the webs, of course, like any Scorpion, will block us, block our movement. Can still attack, of course, but guess we could actually use him for, can also deal 1 damage here, but I'm worried that he will get himself on fire, so I'm going to, I have very useful upgrade. I'm not going to hit buildings, actually I'm going to hit our friendlies, but not the buildings. But anyway, I'm going to push this. It's going to take 1 damage anyway, but it's fine. But now we can use our own mech to kill this firefly. And I just leave it here because we can actually block Vec movement. As you can see, if you push, if you click on a Vec, you can see that he cannot reach here unless he's flying, of course. The firefly can reach everywhere. Anyway, it's that. We are in a bit of trouble here, but since we have shield actives, we can also take 1 damage here with no problem. So it's easy enough. Update. Target destroyed. Cause of death. Friendly fire. 1 turn. We just need to survive 1 turn, so we can just ignore this. Cannot ignore that one. And yeah, you can actually worry about getting the highest number of kills. It's not vital, so I'm not going to kill this. The shield will a huge help at the price of 1 star, 1 extra reward. This is the strategy layer. If you want more risk, more reward. I'm sure that explosive Vec will be back, but at least nothing was damaged. We should double the blast proofing of the vaults before it returns. Now, we have seismic activity, and drawn out by offensive against the Vec, the Hive leader is assaulting Corporate HQ. Regions have been destroyed by Vec, which means we cannot get the rewards. Every time we have 4 to pick. Corporate HQ. Still nothing here, but I'm betting on getting more kills with the cannon mechs. I'll move it here. Also, we have a virtual simulator. If you want to test a new weapon, you have infinite actions, and yeah, you need to cancel. Anyway, for now, Corporate HQ. Destroy the Hornet leader, protect the corporate tower, which is this one. Some kind of abomination is approaching our headquarters. Whatever it is, it must be stopped. We have Hornet leader. Hundreds of people are in those buildings. Make sure they are still standing. When confronted with new enemies, be sure to learn about their abilities. He's massive, he's flying, and he's a Hive leader. These are the most powerful Vec, immune to water. They can be more challenging to kill. So Hornet with 6 health instead of 2, and stabs 3 tiles in a row, dealing 2 damage instead of just 1. 3 mechs in a row. I tricked the Hornet into attacking me. At some point during development of Into the Breach, there was the idea of using weapons stacking like Tetris blocks. Legacy of that is that when the Vec see an appropriate sequence of targets, they usually attack the nearest building, but they will always get to that. Exploiting the AI, actually necessary in tactic games, on harder difficulty. I cannot reach the Scorpion. My only option is to use artillery. Now, of course, the advantage of having Vec attacking our mechs is that we can just move away. I'm going to take advantage of this. And I cannot actually hit unless we want. Actually, I could take 2 damage just once. I think it's worth it because we deal 3 damage and plus we get this on fire. So I'm going to risk losing Ralph here. Damage readouts are in the red. But our first objective is already accomplished because it will die. When you see one Vec on fire, it will die first. So you can actually ignore him and worry about these 3 ones. So actually, you can just... yeah. It was the wrong move because the cannon mech has just 3 movements. So what I need to do is... actually, I don't think... I cannot do anything because if he's going to die... yeah, I cannot... Unfortunately, I needed him to shield. And I cannot... I need to take 1 damage. But my idea was to push this Firefly here to block a spawn. It's a bit dicey, but 1 damage is inevitable. I can take 2 damages. I'm going to die anyway. So we get 1 damage and another. Finally, a grid resist. Grid defense held, so this building resisted damage. The chance of building damage or resisting damage is shown on the right of your power meter. We don't actually know if the +3 bonus help was useful because we don't actually see the roll, but we got lucky and saved 1 damage. Of course, you cannot predict this randomness, actually one of the few random elements. So we can actually afford 1 more. Our corporate tower is here, so the Vec are not actually. Another semi-random thing is the maps. So this could have been anywhere, but the map layouts have been randomly generated, but then selected to avoid unwinnable situations as much as possible. So they have been pre-selected, around 200 maps in the development phase, and we have been lucky with the corporate tower out of the way. We can help Ralph survive to see another day. And now for a trick shot, because he's going to destroy the Psion, but the Psion is keeping this alive. So, biting the hand that feed you. So, we managed to get out of the situation, but I'm still not doing my main goal, which is to get Watery Grave, drown 3 enemies in a single battle. I was hoping to get the dam mission, unfortunately didn't, so let's maximize the kills. Well, I don't think there's much to do here. No, just let Ralph do it. And we completed our first island. We won. The Vec destroyed. No new hives should appear on our island. You've saved us. He also has different lines if you miss the optional objectives, which I guess we'll see at some point, or I'll add them at the end of the video. And we get the first achievement, Island Secure. Unfortunately, this one pretty much granted if you want to progress the game. This one would have been perfect to do here, but we didn't. RNG didn't favor us, and didn't get too much water, and the next island will have almost no water at all. Ramming speed instead is much trickier. Kill an enemy 5 or more tiles away with a dash punch. So how we do that is we need to upgrade our Titan Fist. So we need to spend reputation. We get 8. We can get grid power and reactor core, which is 3. What I want to do is to power dash, so I'm going to install both here. Also, it could have been a skill here, an extra reactor core. Luck has not been on our side, but here we see we can, of course we need to get more power grid to survive, but we see we can also buy weapons, boosters, self-destruct, which is actually helpful if we don't have a pilot like us now. Smoke drop smoke on 5 tiles anywhere on the map, so we can only do this once, but it's any class weapon and it's very powerful. And the shock cannon is a brute class weapon, so you can see that we have our prime class, a brute class, and a ranged class. Also there's a science class. You'll see with a different squad. We'll unlock, of course, many more mechs. And to unlock the mechs we need to do the achievements, so that's why they are perfectly integrated. I prioritize the achievement, but health and move maybe they've been a better choice. But let's see what we can do. So these are actually very helpful, any class weapons. So the bad luck before is actually good. I ignore this because it needs a lot of, it's a bit situational and it needs a lot of power cores. Just 2 power cores to activate. But the thing is that for 2 years after the game launched, these cost 2 stars, so now we have much more freedom. There was just one of those was on sale for 1 star. For some reason, spring 2020, after around 2 years game launch, the devs decided to quite an important change to encourage people to, I guess, since I didn't mention that, of course it was developed by Subset Games, the developers of FTL, so maybe the user base was more interested in random weapons from FTL, and so I guess they decided to encourage experimentation, though it's not why I like the game. The point is that we can also resell for 1. The corporate reputation was meant to be only 1 island at a time, but of course if we buy a weapon for 1 and resell it for 1 the next island, these reputation carries over, which means it's not as clear cut as before. We can just move 4 stars at a time, buying all this and moving. Anyway, I ignore the grid power because these are actually very helpful. Since we don't have pilot, I'll just show you the self-destruct. In this case we have enough movement, so I just play it safe. I don't know if we're going to be able to win this first thing because my goal was to get objective. Then we'll worry about finishing the game, doing perfect runs and optional challenges. Actually, I'm going to move Mary over, leave the self-destruct here, and the smoke drop here. And we can leave the island now. By completing 1 island, you have unlocked R.S.T. Corporation. In future games, you'll be able to visit unlocked islands in any order. As we learn more about the game, we get more freedom. But for now, we have the second island and not too much water for our objective. R.S.T. Corporation, terraforming specialist R.S.T, turned the environment against the VEC and nearly destroyed the island in the process. We have Jessica Kern, and we have an interesting leader that we'll see. R.S.T was divided on asking you for help. It was viewed as a weakness. The choice is stark, we either ally with you or lose the island. Yeah, Jessica Kern is not too friendly. Now we have a symmetric island. And defend the prototype Renfield bombs, which have plenty of time to look at them. For now, get the easy to avoid losing on the first mission. The Vec took out this region's ground stabilizer. We're not sure what the result will be. Watch your step. We get our defensive shields and we get seismic activities. Environment effect. This mission has a special effect that will happen every turn. Mouse over the environment icon to get more information. Cataclysm. So marked squares will sink into the earth, killing anything on them. Now, we have, instead of forest, we have sand, and now if damaged it turns into smoke instead of fire. Units in smoke cannot attack or repair. The second squad will actually be all about smoke. So now these tiles will sink as the music changes to a more western theme. Music by Ben Bronte, same as FTL. We see that we have a new Psion. Blast Psion has explosive decay, while the Vec will explode on death, dealing 1 damage to adjacent tile. It makes things quite hard, but also notice that with these easier missions we get less buildings to worry about. Now, this one is a Alpha Hornet, flying, explosive decay, alpha unit, and on sound. Intermediate between the Hornet and the previous island leader. So I'm going to start targeting the Psion. Careless, the building should have been protected. Yeah, she's a harsh leader, but luckily we can reset turn and she won't know it. Going instead to do this and use already 1 shield. Now we start the game of smoke. Watch your footing, ground's giving way. This is a preview of our island leader. It's an alpha beetle and charges forward to damage and push the target. Luckily, the Cataclysm will act first, well, after fire. So we can just push it out of the way. Easiest option is to kill him and actually don't need to wait. Update, enemy obstruction removed. Very efficient. We can let it go. Mary, evaluating tactical efficiency increase. And another sign that we get. We get another skill and it's a great defense. Wonderful. Also, it should count, because Watery Grave you can do only if there's water. In desert, pushing an enemy into the abyss has the same effect as water, so... Oh well. I guess you could actually kill a massive enemy in a chasm tile. Instead, the water is only works for lesser enemies, but... Anyway. Nothing we can do. Need to focus on the kill from 4 tiles away. Warning, mobility is 0%. So they are actually all here. I don't think that I can... Yeah, I would die. What I can do is well, that wouldn't be enough. Okay, so if I actually could self-destruct, of course I won't be able to move the mech last turn. What I want to do is to get the achievement. So here the smoke cancels the attack. You can take 1 damage here with no problem. So now we can... Actually, I don't have a reset, but you could do the achievement and reset. Even though there's a reset, the achievement will still work. And we get ramming speed. So now I can remove the upgrade and use the cores for something more useful. Damage report critical, but of course it's an AI, so we don't need to worry. We need to worry about this beetle though. And I guess it's a good time to sacrifice. Attention, Zenith. Transmitting AI unit designation number and timeline of death to Pinnacle archives. This is actually a nice attention to detail. Mary comes from a third island, which you have not seen yet. Zenith is the leader of the island, keeping record of the AI unit destroyed, even though for us it doesn't actually change anything. A nice touch, which will make sense when we go on the third island. So I'm going to this, and mech threat removed, credit for removal, pilot Karlsson, who is very near second and last level up. Mech receding from the conflict zone at maximum speed. I read the casualty report. It is my pleasure to report the Vector in the top percentile. And we get the 3 grid defense. I'm going to ignore this for now, and I move towards the 3 reward mission. Cataclysm and battle with less than 4 mech damage and protect the core plant. Seems quite easy. Kill at least 7 enemies. It's not really easy, but I'm going to try it because finally there's water. We're detecting strange Vec activity. Flying Vec are emerging from underground hives beneath the island through erosion points. Actually, let me upgrade differently. Also here we have some water. There's more. Among the pool of enemies, which one appear at the beginning is actually randomized. Yeah, we have a chasm tile. So there's water in this desert, but it's going down through the chasm. We're already in trouble. I don't think I can do much aside from killing this one outright. I'll need to use the smoke because I cannot tackle both. Can deploy it anywhere just for emergencies, and I'm going to use it already. Now things more reasonable, although we have 2 Alpha Hornet Also not great for, well, for my objective of drowning. Yeah, we'll see next time we'll get to the first island. There are 2 missions which is very easy to get. The achievement, the one with the dam and the one with the tidal waves. Anyway, what you can do is kill this one, damage these, and hope that these do not target something too dangerous. Yeah, not great. Also, I cannot, in smoke, I cannot do anything, so I cannot push, and if without smoke I could have killed both of them in one hit, but I cannot. I think I need to take that damage. Also, they blocked me, so I cannot move. Situation is dire. Cannot even self-destruct because I cannot move. Actually, I could self-destruct, but I don't know if it's worth it. Yeah, probably. Well, I need to gamble a bit. Feel like I'm getting my second win, and we get one of the extra achievement. Here, pilot challenges. Have a pilot reach maximum level. What we can do is push our friend here. Retrieving compliment. You deserve praise. And yeah, I don't know if it's a good idea, but and now we need to survive, which won't be easy. Also, I cannot reach, so already we're in a bad spot. Already 1 damage. Yeah, that's what I get to prioritize bonus objectives. And now we definitely cannot do anything. Yeah, if I had smoke, I can actually punch him to get 1 damage. Yeah, I cannot get neither the bonus, neither the protected power generator, nor that one. So I think it's game over. So my only option is to you also don't get the drowned thing because it's a flying enemy. So I need to, well, I can actually get extra health, so I can just push it back and take the hit. But next time it will be game over. That was amazing, yeah, because they don't know our power grid situation. Just stop the vacuum infestation here. We'll be ready if more erosion points appear. So even though we did, well, we're almost done. Jessica is quite happy because her response depends only on the optional objectives. So we got +2 mech HP. So I guess at this point we're gonna go back to dash, or actually we can change No, I guess I'll leave it here. Of course, I'm not going to do high threat. Defend the train and protect the defense lab. This is the defense lab is actually in a good position, but the protected train is very hard. Also, if a mech is putting himself, the train needs to move there, and if a mech is going inside here, I won't be able to push it away because there are the mountains. So the train is actually the mission I lost most run. Well, I lost the perfect bonus in most runs, but actually I did the first island was perfect, but there's a kind of bug in which if you fail I wanted to show you that if you fail the tutorial, the perfect bonus won't apply, because for some reason the game counts the tutorial, even though if you succeed in the tutorial, the game does not count it. Anyway, destroy 2 mountains, kill 7 enemies. This one is another hard one because mountains need 2 hits, although these are already cracked, so but yeah, they are in the corner. Share County, defend, protect, and fill bombs. Like the tanks, except that they don't help you after 2 turns. I'm going to do the easier mission and hope to survive another day. Actually, since I need to pick one of these 3, there's no choice. So I'm going to do the prototype Ramfield bombs and hope for the best. This site holds 2 warheads designed by temporal physicist Dr. Ramfield, utilizing your breach technology. R.S.T was deemed the safest place to test them. Yeah, because of the desert situation. Let's try. This is a lore important mission. The Ramfield bombs. Now show me what the mechs of yours can do. In another intro, she mentions that she doesn't care where we come from, she just cares about us doing our job. The bonus for the buildings does not work on the bombs, and they also have just one health, but as long as they are targeting us, also they are going to explode on death, but we lose our bonus. As long as they're targeting us, it's not too bad. So what I want to do is to... well, I could push this away, but yeah, I think I'm going to simply push this away, not like this, and I cannot reach here. What I can do is this, but yeah, I think so. I can place all the mechs where I want before, and I can undo move with shift as much as I want. But so what I want to do is to destroy this one and move this away. So there's plenty of health. Yeah, the XP now is useless because we have only 2 levels, so I should have tried to get the kill with Mary, but we are in a very bad situation here. So just to power grid and not a favorable map. Let's see if I can do something. So we can just move away from this beetle, pincers, charge forward to damage and push the target. Can kill this and push this away and take 1 damage. Yeah. You cannot block the spawn in any case because it's going to push and kill both of us. Well, yes, both of us because it's just 2 health. This unit is in need of repair. I'm pinned. So again, we are quite lucky. The enemy is prioritizing landfill bombs. Actually, this beetle is going to kill the firefly if we move the bomb. Unfortunately, yeah, it's not. We cannot save. Okay, this is a first move, and we'll get a spawn. So if we survive this turn, we'll be good. Unfortunately, if I want to get, well, actually I have the option. I guess it's a good time. I'm turning the fact of not having a pilot in an advantage because there's no problems self-destruct at the last or before the last turn. It's very effective. No matter how many machines the Vec destroy, we will find a way to make more. We must. And now this situation is not too bad. This one will die, this one will die. Here are just 1 beetle, which we can also kill and get some more XP. Not really, because well. Luckily I have the reset turn. I cannot get the XP with Mary, but I can still make the kill. So we survived. But we still have 1 more before the final mission. Excellent! Both prototypes survived intact. I can order Renfield and his team to move on to stage 2. I doubt that we'll see stage 2 on this run, but one can still hope. And battle with less than 4 mech damage, exactly the same. Protect the emergency batteries, which is basically the same as the coal plant. So here we have also lightning storm. One of our meteorological stations has reported Vec converging on their location. Intercept them, but beware of the weather. It rains lightning. And here we have Cataclysm. So we have already seen Cataclysm. We'll get here. Actually, don't know how helpful would be buildings immune. We cannot upgrade smoke bomb, smoke drop and self-destruct, but maybe it's more helpful here. So we have an alpha beetle with 3 damage, so only our combat mech can survive. And I guess I'm thinking these as rooks in chess, so I need to have 1 row or column where they can move back and forth. And we also got a time pod, so if we survive, we may be able to do this. The landing strikes random tiles, so if we can push this, again, attack or environment comes first, so if we can push this here, it will die immediately. And also this one, actually. I can just move out of the way. So let's see if I cannot target this tile, but what I can do is push this away, move mech away so it won't hit here, and use a cannon mech to save this building, and now we'll have a nice meeting between those two. Unfortunately, if the lighting came last, would have killed both, but unfortunately in this case it's not helpful. Lightning also destroys mountains, and Vec destroy their own. Now we get the Psion. We already know that it's a Psion adding destruction to all the Vec. I really want to get rid of this one. So what I can do, is try to do some moving around. So in this case I can just see if everything works out. I can push this away. I can hit him. And also the tile in which the enemy ends up does not damage anything. So everything works out. And again, we survive against the odds. So that's why I lost the pod. Unfortunately. I should have pushed it. No, actually, I would have destroyed the building. The time pod on this tile has been destroyed. Time pods are destroyed by taking damage or by any enemy standing on it. Well, a bit of collateral damage, but it's bonus. Not a bonus objective. Truly bonus stuff. Doesn't really affect the rest of the run, aside from the help, of course. Now, the important stuff is survive, and I will say the beetle is going to die, luckily. Another alpha beetle emerged. And I don't think we can reach. Smoke is blocking, which is not great, but I guess I'm going to move, keep destroying the mountains, but cannot reach him. Anyway, I'm going to say that I call this walkthrough fast because the idea of going fast, you see things that won't happen if you take too much time thinking about it. So we have a tense situation, which is, well, which can be reached only if you put yourself some extra objectives like a perfect run, a 30k run, which we'll see after we survived a few of these. So we can actually just move those. Cannot get, don't think I can get kill here. Well, I could just move the Vec out of the way, but I'm going to get a kill. And also I need to kill this, otherwise I would have lost the emergency batteries after pressing Enter, so there was no reset. That was very close, so sometimes it's best just to leave the vac here and move on, except that we cannot kill everyone. But we got +2 XP. Yep. The vac has been attacked heavily in the area. And mission is complete. Excellent, you've gained ground. We'll hold it now. You and your squad keep advancing. And the time pod was a curse more than a prize. Now we lost the perfect island bonus. But our priority is survive. It's now or never. And I'll move the smoke drop back. Here. It is time. 3 power and corporate HQ is waiting for us. Like monstrosities assaulting our tower, we are to rely on you this final time to help us. Destroy the Beetle leader, protect the corporate tower. Now, I try to beating the vac here. Now show me what those mechs of yours can do. And again, it went well, except for the fact that the Alpha Hornet preferred to have 2 contiguous tiles instead of here. Picked this one, but we have the Beetle leader who has flaming abdomen, charge and light every tile in the path on fire, plus the explosive decay from the plus ion. Now, important is the attack order. So the Beetle attacks first, deals 3 damage, is not enough. Also we need, we can move the Alpha Hornet here, we are good. Or we just, no, we cannot damage. Could just damage like this, but of course there's no room. Or we can let's see, if I use the punching mech for this one, I think it's best to punch this way. I mean, it's safest, it's not necessarily best, but I don't want to think too much. And luckily the Beetle is attacking this way, so I can simply kill. And first objective is done. Another Beetle, but this one is less scary. Would have been fun to make it run. One time this Beetle ran all around the map, drawing a square of fire. Safety is most important. Alpha Beetle has still a lot of health, but this one is almost done. So It wasn't necessary to hit this one. Should be fine. This one is safe. This one is safe. This one can move and can. Yeah. We survived. Everything is more tense when your power grid is not full. I must admit, that was an impressive performance. We will rest easier knowing that Vec monstrosity no longer infests our island. She's happy. Means we did a good job. Still a 3 power. Now we could actually buy 6. Oh, more than enough. But we have a phase cannon, shoot a projectile that phases through objects. It was interesting. It's a weapon that not a main weapon for any squad. Grappling hook, use a grapple to pull mech towards object or units to the mech. Rock accelerator, launch a rock at a tile, pushing adjacent tiles, which we'll see in one of the next squad. Buildings gain a shield after taking damage. If you're already taken damage, it's not great, but since now I'm playing fast instead of the usual 4 hours to complete the run, I think I'll take the shield and I'll try the phase cannon. Still no pilot. It would have been a perfect island if there was no time pod, and one of the perfect island rewards is actually a pilot. We'll see next time. So as upgrades, I have +1 damage, +2 damage, and +2 damage. Since this first squad is based on movement, having not enough damage is not too bad. Well, we'll see. If I spoke too soon, we can get 1 more core, but I want to try the phase cannon, so I guess. Well, I'll keep living dangerously. Actually going to sell Mary, because a 3 grid defense is basically useless, and I don't know, but I'm feeling safer with 1 extra power grid. Leave the passive here, and I'm trying the phase cannon instead of the Taurus cannon, but not going to sell it because I think I'll change it soon. But still, we could, if we had more cores, could use a shield, an extra shield, and +1 damage. My goal is still to finish the achievement first, to progress the game, and then worry about completion. And so we'll move to the 3rd island, Pinnacle, even though this run is getting quite long with all the explanations, but I'll pick at the pace for next time. For now, we unlocked Pinnacle Robotics. In future games, you'll be able to unlock island in any orders. Into the Breach takes an interesting approach with the final mission. So you can end the run after 2 or 3 or 4 islands. And the final mission scales. It will be as much of a challenge as attempting it after securing additional islands. Securing more islands before the final mission will allow you to save more civilians and increase your final score. In contrast with this freedom, there is the point system. So even though technically it's the same, the point system encourages you to do all 4 islands to get the famed perfect score of 30k. First, we do the 3rd island to unlock the final one. So Pinnacle is where Mary was from, although it doesn't have specific dialogue. She mentioned Zenith, which is the CEO of the island. Pinnacle Robotics fights a war on 2 fronts, one against the Vec, the other against its own sentient weapons. And we see that the leader is actually a robot. We'll need to break the ice to get our drowning achievement. The humans employed at Pinnacle are just as important as the sentient machines. We must stop the Vec to save all life. So this is the AI island, and I still have one reactor core. I think I'll add here. And now we already have a 3 reward mission, 1 reactor core, break 5 buildings out of ice, block spawning 3 times, and protect the defense lab. Then we have an easier one, but doesn't lead to anywhere, and defend the robots, which allows us to get an easier mission. We need to go through silicate plains anyway, sooner or later, because we need to pick 4, and this is the 4th one. One of my environmental process crashed, and the result was an entire city encased in ice. The lives within it are still functioning, but they will die if not freed in time. Let's clear the area. We'll think that the buildings are in ice, which makes the 3 bonus objectives much easier, but they can take only just 1 hit. Your bonus objectives to defend the structure, and we have this digger enemy, specifically the alpha digger. We can see from the simulation that it's actually updated to our ability, so I've installed the upgrade with having a shield after taking damage, and it shows there. So cool attention to detail. The upgrade to deal extra damage would have been very helpful here. You can see the passive effect, the buildings need a shield after taking damage. And also we have an alpha centipede acid on 3 squares. So of course the digger would break the ice, but the other 2 would destroy the defense lab. We have a Alpha Leaper, 5 damage. So let's free our combat mech. I'm going to reset turn and think of another way out. So he has 4 movement, but there's the rock in the way. I think I will be stuck anyway, so I guess in the end I'm going to use the smoke, and now our mech is free, can pick what to destroy. I pick this, and it here. So no damage. Also, we get a new Psion. This unit is armored. Our incoming weapon damage will be reduced by 1. All other damage, push, fire, blocking, etc. is unaffected. So this is the cause. The Shelp Psion. Move to block the Vec. Don't let any of them surface. Yeah, and this hardened Carapace. All other Vec have incoming weapon damage reduced by 1. I don't see spawn point, but the block spawning 3 times is a second objective. Much of the dialogue is to remind you. The mission objective, the pilot had just sold, actually traded in for reputation. Mary was from this island. As far as I know, no special dialogue with the island leader, just one mention we already seen communicating the death of the AI. So because of the armor, this would take 0 damage, and we cannot move in because of the smoke. So I could actually use the new weapon of the cannon mech. The phase cannon is just basically an upgrade of the previous weapon. with the phase shield instead of 1 extra damage, and aside from that is still the same effect. So I can actually use to push this through here. The only issue is that the smoke here doesn't allow me to block. So I'm going to do to move this, but he's not dying, unfortunately. So I'm going to kill him directly. And with water, clog his lungs in no time. We get 1, even though the water is just... Also, I didn't mention there's forest like in our first island, and with the same effect, even though visually different, coherent, just like the mountains are visually different, but same gameplay function. Water is the same, but ice, when hit once, it breaks. When hit twice, it turns into water. Instead, frozen buildings just take 1 hit. Also, you can see the acid pool, or ACID pool, which will be the main feature of the last island, introducing new mechanics every time. So now you can see that even the friendly attack here is it's 1 less damage because of the Psion. Anyway, now I need to block Vex spawning and break 5 buildings of the ice. I need to start moving towards that. Also, the effect doesn't work on the Psion himself. So what we can do, we could push this. Let's see. Yes. We can push it. Going to do that, but first move here, and do like this. So now we need to start working on the shield, on the breaking buildings, but also blocking. So I guess, yeah, it's too late for blocking actually, because did I already move it? I remember having moved, but anyway, it's too late for block spawning because the spawn will be deleted. So I'm not sure if there was a spawn at first turn, but didn't get much spawning here, unfortunately. This unit is inflicted with acid, with its defense corroded, incoming weapon damage will be doubled. All other damage is unaffected. That's what acid does. Now, too late for the optional objective because there'll be the spawn points disappear at the last turn. So, well, it's also too late for drowning because they're too far away. So in the end, don't see much that we can do aside from killing it. And so we need 3 buildings. Still could do like this and destroy 1 building, but it's not enough. Also, I could have punched this rock to get a building, but still 1. Just like 2 spawning, we got 4 buildings. Not enough for 1. Of course, didn't go as well if you do very well at the beginning, then it will be easier and easier to get the missions. You have time to see all that. Those buildings are now icy tombs for both machines and organic life. We will free them after the war and dispose of them respectfully. At least we got one reactor core. So we can actually install this, get a phase shield. Yeah, 2 damage here. It's also good. Now, we have a Pinnacle Garden. Kill at least 7 enemies, protect emergency batteries. Or kill at least 7 enemies, protect the core plant. This run really likes me. Kill a lot of stuff. We'll see the ice storm. The local coolant station detonated, releasing storms of cryonanites into the atmosphere. Avoid them or your mechs may be flash frozen. And with this warning, we have Alpha Firefly, the standard centipede, and digging task. So it's best not to leave empty spaces like this one. I'll go like this. You also have got a pod. Your secondary objective, acquire pod resources. The ice storm, market tiles will be frozen at the start of the enemy turn, and unlike the airstrikes, it will survive below the ice. Unfortunately, also the only tile where you can drown enemies will be gone. Environment acts first, so these will be frozen. But also when frozen, they can still be drowned. Actually, it's the only way to drown flying enemies, to get them frozen and then push them into water. You also have the same scions. Each island has, every run, each island has just one kind of scion. This one is not attacking because it didn't have just 2 movement. It was not enough to reach any interesting objective. Also this same for the Alpha Digger. Updating information databases to report that Vec cannot swim. So I'm going to kill this one, and then this one. This unit is frozen, it cannot move or attack, and will remain frozen until it takes damage. And yeah, freezing is the theme of this level. Also, Digger is baked into attacking me here, so we'll leave the buildings alone, but we still have plenty of killings to do. Actually goes through the rock, I didn't notice that. Can be very helpful. Fortunately, it cannot reach back here. Going to use this to block 2 spawns, and this will get defrost. The blocking. Guess we can kill this one. The simplicity of the system means that we cannot point at an empty square, so when he's dashing, we cannot go back to punching adjacent empty square and destroying the ice. I guess the only thing we can do is to destroy this one. Maybe I could... yeah, I can try to get him here, but I don't know. Next turn. it's not necessarily a good idea to block spawn, but if you have a 7 enemy bonus. But luckily this sleeper is not attacking. Next turn it can jump up to here. Also, fire will be put. The warning is because its tire will lose the fire effect. So I could get one drowning, but it's a lot of resources. Not sure if I can. We still have the upgrade, yes. So what I can do is destroy the tile, now it's free, and get it here. And now with this one, I let him freeze on purpose. Actually the pod did not freeze, of course. Freezing would have been a protection, so it had no effect on the pod. Now I can freeze, get frozen, and then protect the building, so I will take no damage because the environment attacks first. And we have 3, so we have enough enemies, but I don't know if I will be able to drown. Actually, I could have added an extra damage. Frozen mech. The mech can use repair skill to free itself from the ice, but otherwise cannot attack or move. But the mech was kind enough to free me. That's actually my favorite mechanic. So now this building is safe, this building is safe, this is nothing, and this building is safe. So we can just worry about killing 3 enemies. Fortunately, no water. I need 2 hit to destroy, unless it's on fire. So I guess I have still a reset, so I'm going to try this. Back on fire, fire will destroy ice immediately. Well, if you apply fire on the tile, of course, not if one is on fire. This will destroy the time pod. I don't have, yeah, I needed his attack here, but didn't work. Even if I try this, actually it doesn't destroy the time pod because Beck is dead, but didn't work. So I don't think I can get drowning thing. Let's see if I can do the enemy killing part. I'm curious if self-destruct, yeah, probably will destroy the ice completely, but still need to pick between killing 7 enemies and getting the achievement, which at this point may be actually more useful. Let's see what happens. Yeah, ice will not protect. I don't think ice will protect the building. So I could try to destroy the ice, but I already used the reset, so I'm not going to risk it, even though actually this would do nothing, and not going to risk it this time. Even with its limited sentence, that AI unit would have been worth preserving. And no, it actually doesn't destroy completely water. So good thing that I didn't try it. And that's it. still one short for the drowning thing. Good to see you thawed out. I'm working to contain the rogue cryonanites, and the storms in the region have already ceased. We get pod and an extra weapon from the science class. So we need one extra reactor core to get it. In the example, there is actually a science class weapon. So we need one extra. No matching mech class, one power penalty applies. And also the usual guaranteed reactor core. Actually, this works for any. So if I move the Artemis here, it says it's a ranged class weapon, and I need to get one extra power core. I could equip, but with one extra power core. So at this point, the starting mech is less definite because you can always change. Where did I leave it? You can always change their weapons. So of course I'm not going to use this, but just to show you, it's a simple shielding. Actually works on mountain, even though the shields looks weird. I'm going to sell it later. Now, one extra core. I'm tempted to put it again on the cannon mech because, well, it can actually still get the +2 damage. Yeah, I'm going to put it here. So now we need 2 more. One mission with the power grid will be easier than the equivalent 2-star mission, but this is more interesting since it's a something new. So I'm going to do it. There's also snowing, which is always cool. Ascension mine layers have lost AO, and they are attempting to run old routines. Protect these blind, helpless creatures. Yes, we need to defend the robots, which are not really, won't be able to help us. I'm trusting my cannon mech with the upgraded weapon. Let's see. Also a pod. I detected a time pod. Its trajectory indicates it will land near your coordinates. New secondary objective, acquire pod resources. So you can see that the Vec are just as dumb as the mine bots, and they will step on the mines. So this weapon is actually not good in this case, but even the robot stopped in the middle, but you see how powerful this one is, even though, of course, well, it wanted to push him out of the way. So what you can do, you cannot actually reach. I think maybe over already. I can protect it with my body, but I cannot kill this one. Just 1+1 from the bump. But I guess, well, not to take the pod, but the goal is to block this attack. Anyway, fortunately, this would destroy. I'm afraid I need to give up the dream of drowning him. So I'm going to push this away, block here, push this away, and I guess, well, it's actually the same. And hopefully the robots will go out of the way. Yes, we'll leave mine here. Okay, now the situation is much better aside from him. Can definitely drown him. So this extra pushing of the artillery mech now is actually a problem. I think it would be best to destroy the Psion, but I cannot reach him directly. So what I want to do is to push this away and push this away. Let's see, if I could reach here, I could just get frozen and take the hit. So I can actually drown him if I push it twice. But yes, and this will take care of that, so I'm going to do that. Push him twice. Update, Vec submerged. Secondary update, Vec life signs are ceased. And get the always funny, even though this one won't damage, but this will be dead. Vec tactical efficiency suboptimal. So this one is frozen, even harder to kill, but it's looking good for our bonus objective. Finally, the robots are out of the way, so that's the luck-based part. Depending on where these go, it's actually maybe much easier. So I could kill him, or, well, this one is frozen, so I'm going to ignore him. And finally, Watery Grave. Drown 3 enemies in water in a single battle. You can also destroy this one. Everything is quiet when the Vec are frozen. And yes, here the Vec is trying to freeze his friend. It's too late. You can actually go beyond that, get 4 drowning. And, well, that's it. Yeah, it's not enough. But anyway, we don't need XP. We did it. 3 cheers for the Rift Walker. The Vec destroyed, you can safely attend repairs on the machines. Thank you. So it's going pretty well, and finally we get the pilot. We get Bethany Jones. Mech starts every mission with shield. Okay, the 3 grid defense is haunting me, but finally a pilot. And then we can pick her from to start any of the next rounds. So we're not stuck with good old Ralph, which has just experience bonus. And you can use, well, maybe not in the self-destruct mech. Mech starts every mission with a shield. Actually, I'm going to put her here. Not because I need the HP, but because I want to level her up as fast as possible, since after this island I'll try the final mission. We get defensive shield actives. We already seen something like this, just that we have a starting frozen robot. Threat agnostic. Machines frozen. Threat very high. I recommend you avoid them. All life has value, but we'll make an exception for the Vec. They must be all wiped out. I cannot advocate killing the hostile machines in this region, but I acknowledge the threat is too great to ignore. These factories are manufacturing hostile machines, but there are hundreds of innocent lives within. Please defend them while we try to shut them down safely. So now we need to defend the factories, but not necessarily the robots. Also, with this upgraded thing, we could play the cannon further away. But I'm going to leave it here, hoping that someone will target it. Each pilot is a time traveler, has special dialogue, much better than the AI or the standard pilots, like Mary, the expendable ones. So we have a line of Vec. This one is damaging here. Actually, we could just use the shielding. It's quite powerful weapon. We can just use the shielding here. I leave it as last resource, and we see that we have a shield. Energy shield. The shields block damage and any negative effect. Fire, freezing, acid, etc. Only direct damage will remove the shield. So we are immune from fire and the rest until we take damage. So here we have an artillery bot. It's not powered like tanks before, but it will power next turn and it will deal launch rockets at 3 tiles. So he's going to attack first. He's going to attack the rock. I think I'll need to use smoke. Smoke again. It's actually an easy way out, but enemy down. We can do this. Now the robot will get up. So the time traveler are actually characterized by, thanks to their dialogue. Dialogue is actually by Chris Avalon, well-known RPG writer from Planescape Torment to Fallout New Vegas. So this one is stuck, so he will just stay here. This cannon can stay back for this job, but of course for the more effective self-destruct it would be need to go near the targets. So what I can do is, well, limit damage. We get one here, and here. So I think I'll leave this one. I'll take 1 damage. Can afford it. Also we get the shield. Too many lives have been lost in the war. The most peaceful AI you can imagine. Maybe well, it is too human. Sentient AI. So we can ignore this and this. This one is still stuck. Alpha Digger is not digging. And it worried only about 1, 2, and 3. This one is dead. This one can take one more. Let's see if it phases through. Yeah, it phases through friendlies also. So I'm going to use the artillery to destroy this. This one is dead, and this one will die. Well, will attack first, but it's shielded. And we can also save from the extra damage. And unfortunately now this one is free. It's too late. Let's see. Fortunately attack first before the robot. This one is a cannon bot. A projectile that causes targets to burn. And actually maybe we can keep it alive just for Zenith's pleasure, so we can see what happens when the robot survives. Actually the situation is more complicated than I thought, because the borrowers in the middle of the map are always an issue. Let's test this self-destruct with the shield. Even with its limited sentience, that AI unit would have been worth preserving. With Ralph's enthusiasm, let's use this to our advantage. So I just wanted to test that the shield doesn't work against self-destruct. Of course, when there's a skull with bones, it means no matter what happens, no unit is protected. So I want to avoid the damage there. I can push it like this and then leave the bot alive. It's last turn. Retrieving compliment. You deserve praise. And we can get through. That was amazing, said the neighbor of the destroyed building. I've broken through their firewall and safely disengaged the factories from the power grid. They will no longer pose a threat. And as we pass 20,000 civilians saved, drawn out by the offensive against the VEC, the Hive leader is assaulting the corporate HQ. But we also have one power core, which I'll probably keep for later, after I've seen what weapons are available at the end of this island. We can add more damage to Bethany for the Hive leader. Can't wait to field test this! For now, we can test in a simulation, but just more power, but now we can actually target any tile nearby, since we don't have the dash upgrade anymore. From all that enthusiasm, you can already tell that she's a sciencey type, probably an engineer, so since she's from this island, Pinnacle, so used to working with robots. Though the text boxes do not tell us too much. If you want to know more, you need to go to the wiki. But for now, one of our machines has somehow taken control of a VEC Hive and is assaulting Pinnacle Tower. It must be stopped. We need to destroy the bot leader and protect Corporate Town. This is the, well, unnamed pawn. Apparently there's no name, but it's a bug without consequences, just like the layering issues when you hover near tall buildings like Corporate HQ, although that might be priority of gameplay over art. We have to help these people. Luckily, testing weapons and helping people go hand in hand. And I put my mechs in a line because this centipede attacks in a line, but unfortunately he didn't take the bait. Also there's the artillery mech blocking, so the bot leader could have targeted us, but for some reason bot leader preferred his friend, frozen friend, the centipede, the corporate HQ, but you can see unnamed pawn, it should be bot leader, self-repairing if damaged, this unit will shield itself and prepare to heal, massive and hive leader, and rockets mark IV, it deals 4 damage in 3 tiles, and it's one of the rare units which has different counterpart for normal difficulty, normal and easy. Its weapons are mark III, dealing 2 damage instead of 4, but its key feature of self-repairing remains with just 1 HP difference, which would have been enough to kill him. In this case, thanks to the upgraded punch mech and the bump, it's also a recoloring of the artillery bot nearby, just like the other high leaders are recoloring of Vec, except for one, while pawn is the generic name used by the devs for any piece, Vec, mech or robots behind the scene. So unnamed pawn, I guess it's the default name, though it's the first time that I met him. Now this Alpha Leaper is giving me problems, so I could decide to take 1 damage here to get rid of the centipede and a small sacrifice for a better position later, as in chess. But it's always hard to make the call because you don't know what's going to happen. Maybe this 1 damage is the best option on the longer term, but for now I can save everything with a smoke drop, my only smoke drop. Always the first turn is the more complicated. I'll damage this and we'll see what happens. When it's smoke, shouldn't be able to repair, but now I could sacrifice 1 grid power to get rid of this island leader, but again, one hope always to avoid any damage. So and my mech has been webbed, building is safe, but cannon mech not so much. This time I can just move to avoid damage. But I'll use the artillery mech here to remove the shield. And again, could sacrifice the building to get rid of 1 Vec, while the leader has the repair symbol instead of attacking. But we cannot attack from the smoke cloud, so it made things harder. Seemed a good idea. Now the situation is getting worse. And I will let the leader again live on, function on. So that's what happens, a 2-turn attack, a 2-turn repair, first a shield and then full health. Now we have the centipede to worry about. It would have been much better to take 1 damage, so now I need to take an extra damage there. I'm going to test how the shield works. So yeah, it's not instantaneous. It's shield and prepare to heal next turn. Guess, well, 1 damage is inevitable. So we have next turn to kill it. Can actually, didn't see it. We can block a spawn hidden by smoke. And push this away. So in the end, the power lost first turn would have been better. And it's also massive, of course, so I cannot drown him. Can still blow him up. And I think I'm going to do that because I cannot reach here anyway. So I'm going to blow him up and protect. This one is hitting nothing. So, but I cannot reach it. That's great. Now I would have used the dash. Could have used the dash. So I need to take another damage here. Unless I can push this somewhere. What? Yeah. Could push him in the way since it's shielded and all, but it doesn't solve the liver issue over here. So yes, 1 damage would have prevented to here. Our cannon mechs have been destroyed, but we got the leader, and we can, of course, to work here, unless, yeah. In the end, the dash would have been more helpful in this mission. How it turned out, cannot do anything. They are killing innocent people. I'm grateful for your help. Many lives were saved here. She doesn't care about sentient or doesn't care about human, AI, android. Every life matters for her. If only we knew how the machine controlled the Vec like that, it could win us this war. Yeah. So let's see what we have. We have the pool tank. So we can deploy units and it will act as an extra unit, but it needs 2 power and just 1 use per battle. Vortex Fist is a prime class weapon, which is very weird. It has 2 self damage, but also 8 damage to the other tiles. So, and now we have Astra bombs. Leap over in distance, dropping a bomb on each tile you pass. And cluster artillery. Protect a tile by damaging and pushing adjacent tiles. So that's similar to the weapon we already have. So only that instead of damaging the center tile, damages the other 4 tiles. First I'm going to sell these. And now we have 9. So you need to count reactor cores. You already have 6 weapons. Pool tank is use an action, so you cannot punch or shoot. Could try this one, it may be useful, but you can see from the movement, vortex movement, it's a high probability of damaging something else. Well, I'm trying, then can always change. So instead of the auto shields, can add a vortex fist. We still didn't get the level up, so if the level up is a reactor core, we won't be able to use it in the final mission. Instead, if it's something else, it will automatically apply the final mission. So we need more health. You cannot equip it like this. Vortex fist. If only I could take this with me when I open another breach. Pods, of course, are from the future, and pilots, these are time traveler, because you can actually open a breach and change timeline. And I'm going to sell the auto shields. We're going to meet Vec dealing a lot of damage, so they will usually destroy the whole thing. I think I'm happy with these weapons. I'll pick plus move. One extra power here would be helpful, or one extra move. Move. Don't see using the vortex too much. I can sacrifice Ralph. In the end, I'm not emotionally attached. Maybe if I'd renamed him like XCOM. So we have actually 5 health, one extra move. By completing 3 islands, you unlock the Tritus Disposal. Future games, you'll be able to visit unlocked islands in any order. We have Vikram Singh. The Tritus can break down any matter into its base elements. Their factory cities are devoted to waste removal and recycling, and we have Funny Blob as a leader, but we'll keep it for next time. Now, time to tackle the final mission. I think 3 is the most balanced difficulty, unless you started with some good weapons. So the difficulty scales, and Jessica is the leader of the 4 leaders. With the Vec driven off the islands, you have a chance to wipe them out at their source. You are humanity's last hope. We have a volcano, super volcano, indestructible volcano that blocks movement and projectile. Instead, these are mountain tiles, even though they are the same texture, the volcano. Now there are no buildings. So close now, can we do it? Deploy remote power pylons, they'll keep you connected to the grid. That's the offensive. Of course, we cannot bring buildings down, so they had the cool idea of dropping pylons, which mechanically are exactly the same, but it's always nice to see that everything is justified. World building is very important for me. Power pylon. Remote power pylons connect your mech to the grid even when underground, not populated, which means that we are free to let them be destroyed without affecting our score, which don't really agree with the idea, but you can get a perfect run on the islands, and then you just need to survive this final one. We have the Firefly leader dealing 4 damage to 2 targets. So here we have Hive leaders are actually inside, since, well, we are at their home. Alpha Digger instead create a defensive rock wall before attacking adjacent tiles. That's why I kept the smoke, because this situation here with a lot of health and these actually usually pretty hard, but we have the advantage of the new weapon. The tile here will turn into lava, and fortunately we cannot push any Vec for now into it. This one is massive, so it won't actually drown. So we could drown this one. Hit this one. Let's see the direction. Yeah, it will hit here, so it's not great. 4-5, it will almost kill him. This one is a regular alpha firefly. So I think I definitely want to do this. And have this hit here. This one is hitting nothing. And I need to focus my attention on the alpha digger, which is always something that ruins everything. So I need to use one of them to move, and the other, one of them to move the boulders and the other to move him. Can almost kill him. I'm going to push him towards the water. I didn't check who was going to kill this rock first. Let's see. No. If it was inverted order, this one would have destroyed the rock and the firefly would have destroyed the pylons, but it wasn't like this. And now we have a different threat to keep things fresh. Volcanic projectile. A fireball will strike here, destroying anything present. So this is instant death. So we have a new Scion with a new effect. Scion Tyrant. All player units take 1 damage at the end of every turn. So this is it's called Hive targeting, but in the attack order it's called Scion Tentacle, which act even before the environment. It will take 1 damage. I think I need to prioritize him. So we could actually... this one is overpowered. We can shield everything. So we could shield everything, but I actually prefer to get rid of the issue. So I take 1 damage. Of course this one will die and this one will kill itself, which is always funny when they run into water. So we have water and lava, the same map. Should be some steam rising. Let's see if it works. The shielding is well good, but this one is going to kill me next time. So if I use... I didn't mean to do that, I thought I had selected him. It's a bummer. What was that? Just a moment of deja vu, like when I first arrived. Yeah, so there's some lingering effects of Train Traveler. Hopefully it will not affect the mental health of our pilots. But yeah, I selected the wrong one. My bad, I should use A-S-D to select them. Anyway, what I want to do is to push this away to kill him. Then use this to kill this one and here. The only issue is that I lose... Well, if I do in the right order, I'm not losing anything. I think... If I push this first, of course, there will be nothing left here to push. A promotion, me. Let's see what happens. Mech HP. Oh, very good timing, Bethany. because now we did not need to worry too much about this one. But okay, so everything works out except for barely surviving here. I could do this, but it's not enough. You need to choose between, well, since this one will be dead, I guess I could survive with just one. Not horrible. Of course, I will not be able to use the whirlwind anymore. But let's prioritize the grid for now. I have sign attack. Hull breached. Patch the ship, Ralph. And yeah, that was the right call, because now we have a easy situation. Again, lava here, but actually we could actually even repair. It's a luxury I don't always have, but since this one will run into water as before, very funny. Going to do that. This one will block. This one will die, and I can actually repair, even though repair and block, since 1 damage, and Ralph will survive. It's not over yet. We have the Alpha Blobber, which has a really cool portrait. Well, all portraits are cool, except for this one. Volatile growth. Every turn it throws a massive blob that will explode, killing itself and damaging adjacent tile. Kill it first to stop it, or you can smoke him to leave it hanging here for the rest of the battle. But yeah, just 1 health, even though it deals 3 damage. So we can repair, but better hold till we're back at the base. We want to be back at the base off. Need to survive, breach or no breach. Incoming seismic activity, brace yourself. Seismic activities are off the charts, and that's a surprise, it's not over. We need to go deeper with our friend, beetle friend that we already saw. Sending down power pylons, keep them operational, we don't have any more. Update, target acquired. Mission, destroy the Hive. Deploy a Renfield bomb, defend it while it primes, hold position. Keep the Vex from that bomb, not way I'm letting them escape what's coming. So the prototype Renfield bomb before, now everything ties up nicely. Need to survive and to keep this Renfield bomb alive to destroy the Hive. Now the beetle leader, again, having abdomen, lava tile behaves like water, but inflicts fire on surviving units, so it means it won't kill it instantly. This one will kill it instantly and before anything else, so that's taken into consideration. So we are very lucky with the placement of enemies here. Let's do this. We also have a new reset, just in case. I could actually kill it outright, but take 2 damage. Grid short draft. As you have more pilot, have more interactions. Prefer to take 2 damage here. Damage report critical, but we don't need to keep him alive. Actually, we don't need to keep anyone alive. This is the end. We have a friendly Psion again. So this one will be dead. Don't do anything. So Alpha Crab, 3 damage on 2 tiles. So 1, 1, and 1. We could, if we ignore this, one interesting thing, of course, on hard is to try to deal with more than one enemy each turn. Although in this case, fortunately, they are not. There's no whirlwind possibility. Also, this one is tentacles. The unit here will die, and the tile will turn into lava, which is targeting. This time is actually targeting us. This is the end. Maybe the hive mind is says watch out for falling logs and lava, but it's actually tentacles. Fallen logs are random, tentacles are targeting us. So I could push this away. Could use smoke. Think so. I think I'll sacrifice these since I don't really need anything here. It's best to survive. So I'm going to do this. Well, and this. And I don't actually need to worry about defense unless something horrible comes up. Another blobber. Firefly. No one is tackling a infant bomb, but in case it dies, you will have 4 more turns. So it will somewhat reset with all, which is good if you have killed most of them, most of the mech, otherwise it's not very good. And now we have falling rocks. And also seems an interesting spot. We could use smoke, we could use self-destruct. Actually, if I self-destruct here, I also block a spawn. I think it would be, yeah, it would be the best option. Our cannon mech's been destroyed. We don't need to worry about that. We're actually almost done. If it... Okay, I really want to use the optional second weapon, but now I would move my block here. So what I'm going to do is move this. Now 1 turn. Need 3 Vec. And now we have a line of tentacles. This one, of course, is not attacking, it just shoots a blob. The rifle ball would be actually destroyed, which not great. It's bad positioning, but I can actually afford to lose this one, no problem. Just need to save. And you see that usually the spawns go away, but since if the Vec destroys the rifle bomb, it will reset. So this could be not the last turn. So the spawner remains here. And actually it may be a good time to just use the smoke. In the end, that cancelled. This alpha blob will remain here forever because He only knows how to destroy itself. It could actually survive, or, well, I didn't realize I could just kill him. So unfortunately, no use for the new weapon, but we did quite well. The landfill bomb is ready. I recommend you leave now or you travel a grave with the wreck. We won. Maybe now we can turn the tide in a war in our favor. Farewell, Rift Walkers. I won't forget you. That's the explosion, and we get a victory. Beat the game on any length and on hard. We did it, despite the terrible start. Earth is saved, at least this timeline, thanks to the valiant effort of Ralph Karlsson and Bethany Jones. The Black Hive has been destroyed, saving this timeline from ultimate doom. Humanity can now begin to recover from the destruction wrought by the Black. No mention of the fallen pilots, but there's a reason for that. Only the surviving pilots are mentioned. 21,232 civilians. What doesn't tell you that the highest score is 22,500 in this case, depends on how many islands you complete, besides the difficulty. The game was made by Justin Ma and Matthew Davis under the label Subset Games, music by Ben Pronti and Chris Avalon for the writing, Mauro Lopez. Since the credits are much longer than you expect for a studio of 2 people, going full circle, I'll add the proper way of completing the tutorial behind the credits. And of course, we can also infer from the 4.6 billion saved that Earth is not completely submerged. We still have more land besides our islands, confirming that civilian saved mechanic it was just a score, not the last survivors of Earth. Our work here is done, but this doesn't mean that the game is over. There are many more timelines, infinitely many, to explore, and the in-game reason is that the time travelers are going to jump to a new timeline to try to save as many timelines as possible, and of course in this case they will continue their heroic fight instead of enjoying the peace, but in case of defeat, when a timeline is doomed, they will still be able to jump. Gameplay wise, it means that you can keep one pilot, train them, and make the start of the next run a bit easier. The tutorial ends sooner if you finish the bonus objective. Again, unique thing, and you don't get any star, even though if you fail it shows the star. Thank you for playing, and it will let us choose between our pilots with this great grid defense mech HP. No luck from that side, but you can reroll the skills starting with a new pilot, and we'll have many more pilots to find in game, so another reason to play besides the coins. So the game keeps track of how many timeline pilot encounter. I'm going to reroll it. So we completed the achievements, and our reward is these FTL coins, and which can be used to unlock new squads. Next time we'll unlock the Rustling Hulks, and we'll see how everything changes when you have different weapons, this time focusing on smoke. But for now, thank you for watching and take care.